Hello everyone. When I saw Phil's email about doing a vlog, I misread the title. I must confess, I misread the title as Lockdown Logos. And I immediately thought, what with working from home and all of that, I thought of this photo that was sent by a friend of ours. Well, his wife actually sent it. He's a crown prosecutor, and it was going to court at his kitchen table. And I thought, yeah, that'll make a good logo for this lockdown times. And thankfully, the lockdown's beginning to ease. And despite some of the easing, though, many of us are still facing fairly challenging times. We're somewhat exposed to discord in our own minds. We are negative. We have negative thoughts and feelings rising to the surface about some immediate concerns. It might be about health for ourselves or for our loved ones, or some medium-term concerns about job, financial security, and for some other people, longer-term concerns are beginning to surface in their minds. That what happens if there is a more virulent pandemic arising sometime in the future? How do we as Christians maintain hope, maintain our Christian hope against this backdrop? All of these thoughts can inevitably put us in a lowly place, in a weak place. And I wonder, what does the Bible have to say about when we're in a lowly place? I was reminded of Psalm 136. It's a call and response psalm that many of us will be familiar with. Each verse repeats the chorus, His mercy endures forever. Some translations say His unfailing love, His faithful love endures forever. And that refrain, that chorus, had been used previously in the Old Testament on two types of occasions. One in Chronicles, 2 Chronicles chapter 20, when King Jehoshaphat was facing an army of three nations coming against his country, Judah. And the other type of occasions were at the dedication of Solomon's temple in 2 Chronicles again, chapter 7, verses 3 and 6. That refrain was being sung. And also years later at the laying of the foundation stone of the second temple, that's recorded in Ezra chapter 3 and verse 11. As I said, what does the Bible say to us when we're in a lowly place? I was particularly drawn to the last four verses of Psalm 136. And I'm going to read that to us. Psalm 136 from 23 to 26. He remembered us in our weakness, it says in the NLT version. He remembered us in our weakness. His faithful love endures forever. He saved us from our enemies. His faithful love endures forever. He gives food to every living thing. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of heaven. His faithful love endures forever. Three key things I think that we can draw out of those few verses. One, that He remembered us in our lowly state. Some translations say when we were down, in our lowly circumstances. And that conveys to me a sense of preservation, that God preserves us. And the next verse says, He saved us from our enemies. Some translations say He saved us, rescues us from our foes. Again, that conveys to me a sense of protection. So there is preservation, there is protection. And the following verse says that God gives food to every creature. That conveys a sense of provision. So preservation, protection, provision. And there are several examples in the Bible of God remembering His people in difficult circumstances. I mean, I mentioned already the case of Jehoshaphat and an impending siege, an impending lockdown, if you like. Noah in the ark, the Bible says that God remembered Noah when he was locked down in the ark. Women with locked wombs, if you like, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Hannah, all these women, the Lord opened their wombs and blessed them with a much desired children. Joseph locked up in prison. Daniel in the lion's den. In the New Testament, Peter locked up by Herod. James had been locked up and killed previously, and Peter was next in line for the hangman's noose. Paul and Silas locked up in Philippi, Philippi, the first city in which the gospel was preached in Europe. God rescued them. Even John, locked away, exiled in Patmos, God gave him a revelation of things to come. God remembered all of them in their lowly state. And you and I think, all the more so, because he forsook Jesus. Jesus prayed, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? He was forsaken so that we will not be forsaken. He was forgotten so that we will not be forgotten. And that's one time in the Gospels that Jesus prayed, my God, rather than my Father, as he normally would. So as we approach our week of prayer, this is the God that we're praying to. As we build our prayer spaces, our temples, if you like, just like they did in the first temple, Solomon's temple, and the second temple at the time of Ezra. As we build those prayer spaces, those temples, the place of meeting with God, I like us to remember that this is the God that we're approaching. It's a God who preserves us, a God who saves us, that protects us, and a God who provides for us. Not because of who we are, not because of what we've done to earn his preservation, protection, and provision, but because of who he is, because his faithful love endures forever. So be encouraged. His loving kindness endures. It is everlasting. Dare I say, be thankful even that his loving kindness is not capricious. It's not dependent on circumstances. It's not changed by time or by history, because it endures forever.